Welcome in, everybody, to another MLS Monday by Scarves and Spikes. Look at Henry popping in fashion.
Henry, just in time.
What's going on, y'all?
So good, yeah.
I
I had to be a little fashionably late.
Well, you're just in time. We're just starting.
All right. Well,
30
I didn't
seconds
miss
in.
anything.
You're good. Just
Did you go to the merch store?
No breaking news. Oh, this is some swag that Luis Solis hooked us up with over in Birmingham. Really cool guy with La Doce. And honestly, I mean, dude, this stuff is sick. Look,
it's
like
sweet.
Squid Game themed.
I was gonna say Tommy would love it. It's Squid Game model.
It's freaking awesome. Like in the back, it's got the. Let me see if I can show you.
Looks good.
The masks. You see them?
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
It's good.
Dude, it's awesome. I love it.
I'll
Shout out to Luis.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks, Luis, if you're watching.
Yep.
A lot to talk about today, guys.
We have
a latte to talk about.
A latte of stuff.
A latte. There you go. A latte of stuff to talk about.
So we'll dive into it. But first, scarvesandspikes.com. Make sure you guys are checking out the website. We have tons of articles going up. We're covering all the games in the preseason. And of course, once the season rolls around, the Miguel Almiron news, the Emmanuel Latte Lath news, which we will talk about here momentarily. So yeah, scarvesandspikes.com. We also have the shop on there. Go check that out. And also patreon.com/scarvesandspikes. You guys can listen to some of the interviews that we all had with Garth Lagerwey at the Miggy press conference the other day. Got plenty of other content going up there. Gets you on the Discord, the whole 9 yards. So if you're not a part of the Patreon, go to patreon.com/scarvesandspikes.
Exciting times, gentlemen.
Yes.
Exciting times.
So here we go. This is a busy episode. And as usual, we'll start with Atlanta United. But
yes,
we all kind of knew it was coming. There have been like tons of here we goes. It's about to happen. Like it's just waiting for a signature, etc. Well, Tom Bogert, who has been on a crusade against misinformation when it comes to Emmanuel Latte Lath,
as well he should be,
has come out with his version of it. Here we go, and said that the Latte Lath move to Atlanta United is official.
It's official.
Official.
Well, it's Tom
All
Bogert.
right.
It's completed.
Let's go!
Yeah.
Cheers. There we go.
I have my sparkling water.
Dude, it feels like it was just never gonna happen. Like the saga was like, you know, it might happen. Like it was advancing. Like it's super close. Oh wait, we're stuck on the details. Oh wait, he got injured. Dude, it was all over the place. We were like, hearing that the player didn't want to come, that the player did want to come, that his medical was done, that he was nowhere near complete. It was like, it's good to know that it's finally over. I trust Tom Bogert enough to know that when he says it's completed, it is done. Atlanta United has a new DP number 9, and you know now it's time to get ready for the season. You know, for everything to happen on February 22nd. I am super pumped. Let's go.
And that's a big question. Will he be ready by February 22nd? I'm leaning toward maybe. They got to get some work done to get this. Obviously, the deal has to be officially announced. We're expecting probably Tuesday or something like that. I'd imagine no later than Wednesday. But then the work begins to get him his visa, his information passed over to the league so he can officially play. I'm leaning toward it might happen. We'll see. But at least it's going to be official. And like you said, Henry, it seems like it was never going to happen. Seems like there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of, backroom stuff going on. But yeah, Burrow has done their deal. They've got their striker on loan from Sevilla, and all systems goes. Seems like big deal. Club, or not just club record, but MLS record. MLS record, $22 million. I mean, we've talked about this before. Big expectations for what Latte Lath might do with Atlanta United. And we've talked about he better come in to score goals and compete for supporter shields, if not and supporter shield too. MVPs, golden boots, stuff like that. Has to happen.
Tommy,
you guys can jump in. Whatever.
What kind of champagne are you drinking?
So Tina was out, and I said, "Do we have any champagne at home?" I was out walking, and she's like, "I don't think so." So I had her pick up this bottle of Cook's Brut.
Hey,
And
let me tell you something about that stuff.
How
So
much is it?
it's not much. That's like $8 a bottle. That stuff is. I like champagne, and some people are like, man,
Be careful with that stuff.
awful.
how much
but
was
like,
this bottle?
we just drink it because on New Year's that's what you do.
$10.
I like champagne. I really do. And
Yeah.
I busted a bottle open the other day
Literally?
for some news that we haven't announced yet. And we will soon. So
Stay
there you go,
tuned.
teaser.
Another baby?
No,
Oh.
that's done. That's done.
No mas.
I was like, I made sure of that.
Well, so I was looking at the Championship Cup, and it's always so depressing because you look at it, and there's not a lot of players that are left on it, right, from the team. And it was always, well, it was Brad Guzan, but it hit me.
Is that your old cup you've had for a while?
This is the Championship Cup.
Wow.
And now there's another player back from this cup that we could celebrate. So it's not one, it's two.
Yeah.
Jurgen Damm. I didn't know he was part of that team.
So
Dude, get out of here. Don't even say that
how is
name
that
anymore.
happening?
We're done with that.
No, we're never over with it. Ever. I did not know. I guess
that bit has been played out.
It's dude.
Okay, no, but it came back around this morning, man.
I don't.
I had to bring that up.
Right.
Tommy's just confused the internet, man. He's absolutely confused the entire North American soccer space about what is going on with Atlanta United.
Real quick, because this happened on Thursday. I mean, I tweeted it out as a joke. I took the exact same graphic as Jurgen Damm when he was announced.
Yeah.
And I'm showering and I'm listening to 92.9. Jason's on there, and I hear Mike Bell talk about Jurgen Damm. I almost fell out of the shower. Like I did. I was like, oh my God, is this me? Is this Tommy? Did I do this?
Right.
So then I tweeted them, and then Mike Bell called it, and then another podcast puts out and I forget the name of it. Henry, do you know off the top of my head?
Designated Pundits.
Yeah.
Yes. And I've met those guys through the Battered MLS show. Great guys over there. They released the depth chart, and Jurgen Damm's on there. And Henry messages me as I'm tweeting them, going, "Oh man, did you fall for it too?"
Ruined
he's
everything.
The unofficial
Just takes
mascot.
one tweet.
He's the unofficial mascot of Scarves and Spikes, and I love it.
Right.
I'm keeping him afloat with all these
The
saga
cameos of Jurgen Damm continues to live on because of this show.
Exactly.
Amazing.
So I'm not trying to scoot us along, but we have a lot to talk about. That's the only reason I'm like, we're gonna jump. So we have Latte Lath. We're still gonna talk about him for a minute. We have
before that, real quick, I just want to hit real quick. I mean, I know we touched on expectations about Latte Lath, but what are legitimate expectations on him? What are legitimate expectations for him? You know, how many goals do they legitimately score in MLS? You know, I've said already, they're bringing this guy in not to score like 10 goals. You're bringing him in to become an MVP candidate, a Golden Boot candidate at the very minimum. And this is a player that if you're paying $22 million for him, you're going to bring him in to elevate this club beyond what it's been. Because I've written about it. The last time this club, guys, has really been really good is 2019, you would argue. Like, it's been a while since they've been really good. And, you know, the playoff run was great last year, but just paper over the cracks of what was a really tough season. I guess, what are your expectations about Latte Lath? I mean, let's say over under 15 goals or even more.
Way
over 15.
Are you kidding me? For a league record transfer? For
well, over under 20. Over under 20.
I would still say over.
Over 20. Taking the over 20? Tyler, Tommy, you're taking the over?
Easily over 20. I mean, considering the service that he's going to have between Miggy and Miranchuk and Saba. Saba's going to be that sneaky guy that's probably going to get a lot more goals this year than people think, because the rest of the league has three other guys that they have to worry about. You leave Saba, who you've played against now before, you leave him alone at your own peril. And, but yeah, I mean, I think as far as Latte Lath is concerned, I mean, yeah, it's not to put more pressure on the guy, but he's a league record transfer.
Yeah.
He needs to push 20 easy. Not easy. I said that's not the word, but he needs to push 20.
Easy. But you're right. I mean, you have so much talent around him, right? And and you're going to get Brooks Lennon back, right? I mean, he's going to be able to serve that ball as well. Amador. I mean, you've got all these guys just combining together here. This should be a fantastic offense. This should be a top 5. I don't want to say top 3. I'm going to say top 5 for now. I'm not going to go too crazy today. It's only Monday. We got to keep calm on Wednesday. I'll rip my shirt off in excitement. But Monday, I'm excited. It should be a top 5 offense for sure. And there's other offenses, as we'll get into it in a little bit, that have lost some major pieces, right? And the league is looking for other faces of, right? Yeah. Because a big one, as we'll get in, as our friend comes in here at around 7:30 to talk about Cucho, that's a face of the league that's disappearing. And this league, as we continue, right, needs faces when Messi leaves. And Messi is going to leave at some point. Suarez is going to have to go get dental work at some time and leave for an extended period of time. So you're going to need to start building these faces up again. And the league's taking some huge hits. Lucho as well, right? I mean, you're losing all these guys official, here. But it's probably going to happen here.
It's been rumored, yeah.
Right. I mean, but you see these rumored names of leaving MLS, and you have to prepare for life after Messi in this league, right? You can't, 100 videos that they do, right? And like when they do the intro to MLS, right, for the season, it's just like Messi just shows up like 4 times. Like if you look deep enough into the screen, he's hidden behind, right, Cucho and everyone else in there, Brad Guzan. You got to start building it. And you've got Almiron back, who's already a huge part of this league. And now you've got Latte Lath. And if he could do it, and it's Atlanta, right? Showing these videos, 70,000 people, cheering him on. That's exciting. So it's a big opportunity for him too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know we're going to move on, but I just want to hit on that real quick and just take the temperature just to see what you guys legitimate expectations will be for Latte Lath. That's a big price tag. And the same with Denke over in Cincinnati, who no longer is the MLS record holder for incoming transfer. That's for like a month, guys, something like that.
That now belongs to the newest order at Starbucks.
Right.
Henry,
we need a coffee, Starbucks coffee like that in Atlanta.
Yes.
I'm just curious what the teaser is going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe just order a latte or something. Yeah. No, but I think
opportunity for Miggy to go order a latte. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Sure.
I said that.
Up a latte.
I've been giving you credit on every show that I've been on.
Does anyone know if he likes Dragon Ball? To see if they'll do the celebration.
He might. I mean, that'll be a good intro for him.
You can bring that back. Anyway, I mean, dude, it's a record-breaking transfer. He's got to have record-breaking expectations, I think. And that's not to say that he has to go out and be insane, but I do think that he needs to.
Llamas.
That's amazing.
We need to make a shirt.
That's amazing.
When you have llamas.
We'll work on it.
No, I like it, dude.
Hey, we could get that out tonight.
Get like a llama.
Yeah.
Is that the new rivalry at this point? Like the Animal Farm rivalry? Miami versus Atlanta. Goats versus llamas.
Yeah.
If we make a shirt, we're getting him one for free. We're getting him one for free there.
I feel like we have to get Dyla and Stian, to be fair. The Norwegians are awesome shirt.
Totally.
We'll get Henry on it.
Yeah. But anyway, going back to expectations, just he is expected to complement this offense in a way that will make him one of the most effective forwards and attacking players in this league. His pace combined with just his technical ability. We've talked about him so much now already on this show. Look, he's going to fit in very well, and that's why I say I think he at least gets 20 goals this season. I would say a little bit more, but I do think that is very fair for, the expectations of a guy who has just gone, what is it, like $6 million over the record transfer at this point?
Yeah.
Plus add-ons, because you don't know
plus add-ons.
Yeah, well, you don't know what that's going to be. It's probably like performance-based sort of things.
Yeah, for sure.
And I expect he'll hit those as well. So yeah, I think this is I've said enough that I have to say about this guy. I'm super excited. I can't wait to see him play. I just hope that they can get his visa sorted quickly and that he can at least get that last game of preseason.
Right.
Just so that we can be sure that he'll be integrated at least as much as possible before the season opener.
Well, that's Latte Lath, but
hopefully on the show Wednesday we'll be able to talk about the entire grouping of since the fall, since the end of the season, you've had sporting director, coach, 2 DP spots, kind of a third DP that you stole from DC United.
Yeah.
And you've got lots of things going on. And so now, we talk about expectations, but I mean, this is where you have to put your money where your mouth is, right? Like,
exactly.
You've made it happen. Now they got to go perform on the field because they've definitely performed in the offseason. If you don't think that Atlanta United has won or come close to winning the offseason, then I don't know what to tell you.
Absolutely.
It's a $50 million pack.
Yeah.
It's obscene.
And it's amazing. Because I don't know how many fans, knowing kind of what Garth has admitted himself over the past couple of years, like, I don't know how many fans felt like, they're going to go and break another incoming record or something like that. But here we are. You brought back a fan favorite, and it's not even just about the fan favorite. The dude still can ball, and you smashed the incoming transfer record again.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Well, let's all look what the outside of Atlanta United world is talking about, right? I hopped on a battered MLS earlier last week because they were saying everything was an overpay. Almiron was an overpay, that Latte Lath was an overpay, and I was in the chat yelling, and then they sent me a link, and I started yelling at them even more. But that's what people are saying outside of this is, why are they spending this much? They could have used this money somewhere with someone else, and with a little bit more experience. I don't know. I'm just telling you what they're saying. They didn't come with the list, but that's what people are saying outside here. And hey, you know what? I mean, we've said it about other teams, right? Before, when they're spending a lot of money and saying, hope it works out. It's exactly for us. We hope it works out. We have a more rooted interest in this, right? That we hope it does.
Yeah.
But if it does, I mean, this is going to be one of the most exciting teams in MLS, 100%.
$22 million plus add-ons. Insane.
Let's go.
Insane.
I'm here for it. All right. So speaking of other firsts, the first official cash within MLS trade has happened.
History.
The new rule that popped up, right? Like the new thing that everybody was excited about, the baby steps going in the right direction for MLS roster rules. Dejan Joveljic from LA to Sporting Kansas City for $4 million.
Probably could have been for more too.
Probably could have.
If you're really honest.
I'm surprised it was that low. Yeah.
SKC, honestly, it's kind of a steal, in my opinion, especially considering how bad they need somebody up there that can do something. And then LAFC, I mean, I'm sorry, just LA and both LAs, kind of at this point are kind of the fire sale. It's just crazy how players are moving, out of LA at this point. And that's what happens when you're successful. Atlanta knows that very well. But anyway, Joveljic, SKC. Henry, I'll start with you. What do you got? What do you think?
I think it's I think it's an absolutely massive trade. I mean, for $4 million, you're getting a guy who last season had, I believe it was 21 goals and 7 assists across MLS and the playoffs. It was, I think, 33 appearances. 33 appearances. Dude, that's huge. For $4 million, that's you're getting proven top end talent, an attacker that knows the league well. And I'm interested, dude, they're selling to a direct rival, like a Western Conference opponent. Yeah. That's curious to me, and for that price tag, it feels like, I think the reporting was that LA, they couldn't pay him what he was going to end up making that last year of the contract or something like that. I don't remember the whole story, but it was that. And so selling him was, they had to sell him. Not that they wanted to. I think he has 1 year left on his contract. And even with SKC, they're renegotiating his contract. So yeah, it's interesting to see that. But yeah, it's a very, very good move for Sporting Kansas City. They've needed a striker, and now they have one of the best of the past couple of years in this league. So we'll see how that works out. Hopefully they can complement him. That's not going to win them MLS Cup, but if they can put some more pieces around him, then certainly they're a team to watch in the West.
They might win another Open Cup.
Yeah, guys, I'm looking at the most highest paid strikers in MLS. Joveljic was going to be making, or he made $683 last year, so just under $700K. Highest paid strikers in MLS, of course, Benteke 4.6, Muriel 4.3. That was last year. Belito 3.8. So I feel like that's kind of the baseline Belito of how much Sporting KC were willing to pay Joveljic, because he was still in a U22 contract with the Galaxy. And like you said, Henry, they're going to have to pay him a lot of money for him to stick around. So I don't think that's the best look for the Galaxy. And they're going to have to really bring in somebody who can replace the production that Joveljic enjoyed when he was with the Galaxy. And of course, he's an MLS Cup winner, so that increases the price tag even more. So I just don't know if the Galaxy thought, hey, we can pay this guy at the end of the day, but his price tag was massive and is massive, and I'd love to see how much they're paying him. Like I said, maybe around what Polito made last year with them, just under 3.8. Giroux 3.67, and Pukki 3.5. Obviously, no longer in the league, but that gives you kind of an idea of what maybe the going rate for Joveljic was. And SKC, surprisingly, was the team willing to pay it. And as we said, that's a big deal for them, because Peter Vermees is really on the hot seat. 2 disappointing seasons. Of course, they made the U.S. Open Cup final last year, as Tyler implied. So they're going to need to get back on track. And I think Joveljic is a massive piece of the puzzle getting them there. We'll see. But arguably one of the best strikers in the league, like we said.
I don't know that his service is going to be enough. That's all I'm going to say. Tommy, you go ahead.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm just happy the league has changed some rules around to make it more interesting, right? That's what I'm just happy about. And you guys have pretty much said it all. It's just seeing the league evolve, right? And it's slow. It's very slow how they've been evolving over the years. But something like this, bravo. It's going to create some interesting trades. And the first one for here, it's a pretty big one, right?
You think SKC could have, or LA could have asked for a little more, though? The $4 million?
I think
it's
so.
Still a pretty healthy price tag, but
it's probably hard when the other side knows that you have to get rid of him. Like they knew that he was aging out of that U22 slot, and if the Galaxy were stuck with him, they were going to be screwed. And so I think that kind of helped them force their hand a little bit, because if you look at transfer market, Joveljic is, I think, estimated value around like $6 million.
Yeah, so that's about
and
right.
So this is even below that valuation. And usually the transfer market valuations are above, or they usually undershoot those valuations for what the transfer ends up being. Like with Latte Lath, I think was estimated around like $10 million, and look how much Atlanta's paying for it. Just for context. But they had to do it. And this is where one last thing I want to mention about him before we move on to the next ridiculous trade is from a Galaxy perspective, I'm a bit worried, because who are you going to replace him with? How do you replace the goals that he was scoring? And what are you going to do this season if you can't replace him right now, this window? Because you're already down Ricky Puig, and he is such an important piece of this Galaxy team in terms of, producing your chances and just being the little engine that he is. But now losing, Joveljic, who was, I think, the team's top, was he the top scorer for them last year? I think he had to be.
I believe, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You lose that, I'm concerned for them. Of course, you still have, Gabriel Peg, and you still have Painson, so you still have a decent, you have some stuff to tread water with. But I mean, you have CONCACAF Champions League.
Though.
you have CONCACAF Champions Cup starting up very soon. Like, you're going to be missing, those two pieces for that. This isn't it's interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what the Galaxy does here to replace him.
Time's running out. I mean, the window just opened for MLS on Friday, but LA just can't sit around like you're saying and wait for something to happen. So I
forgot they have Miguel Berry. They're all good.
How could you forget that?
MLS Cup.
Forget the last 5 minutes.
Future Golden Boot candidate Miguel Berry, and then
MLS Cup winner.
MLS Cup winner.
Oh, stop saying that out loud.
No, but it's a massive hole now that LA have to fill. You mentioned Champions Cup, Henry, coming up. They can't. Maybe they just take their medicine in Champions Cup. I don't think they're going to win it. Obviously, they have no striker outside of Barry. So maybe you just take your medicine. Maybe first half of the season, like the phrase you used, tread water. I think maybe what they need to do just for the early part of the season, and then hopefully you bring in an option, and maybe in April or something like that, just before the window closes, or wait till the summer. But interested to see what Will Kuntz does. I think this is maybe one of his biggest moves outside of Royce, as the guy overseeing the soccer operation with the Galaxy. What he does here, I think, is going to tell the story of where the Galaxy end up at the end of 2025. I don't know if they'll repeat as MLS Cup champions, but if they can get a decent player to fill the big shoes of Joveljic, I think they can make themselves one of the top teams in the Western Conference once again. So, interested to see what happens out there in Southern California.
Yeah. All is not lost for the Galaxy. They're going through the same pains that just about every MLS Cup winner goes through. But, it is interesting. We always talk about Atlanta. They won MLS Cup. They still had a successful year after, and then things fell apart.
Yeah.
Columbus Crew had a successful season for the most part after they won MLS Cup. And now there is news. Lots of news related to that team, Columbus Crew. So, Tommy, if you would introduce our guest.
Well, he's not here yet.
He was.
He came in. He popped in a couple times.
He popped in and he disappeared. He made me look like an idiot.
You got to bring him back. You got to bring him back.
Get a filibuster for him. Go.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it, buddy.
Well, one of the greatest parts about doing this podcast.
That was such a good segue too. God, man.
I got a good. Just give me
cool.
the thumbs up when he's back in and ready to go.
Okay.
One of the cool things about doing this podcast for a long time is we've got to meet a lot of people, virtually and in person. And Ben reached out to us a while back. He's on the Upper 90 Club podcast in Columbus, and got to meet him down in Columbus for the game a few seasons ago. He is also in a Weezer cover band, so don't worry, I have a Weezer quote for him as soon as he comes on here. And we got to party with him at MLS Cup, Tyler and I, afterwards. So I talked to him a few weeks ago because his band was in town, and I asked him, I said, "Are you keeping Cucho?" And he seemed like he was keeping Cucho.
Yeah.
And boy, things happened real quick in this world, right? We did not. Some people say they saw this coming. I think a lot of fans didn't. I think they thought that they were going to pay him, right? Well, let's bring in Ben here to talk about it. So, Ben.
Well, he's gone again.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, man.
You may have to message him. And,
Ben is a real person, guys. We promise.
We promise he's coming on. You may have to message him and stern him out.
I'm asking if he's having some problems here. But, I mean, things just happen so quick in this league, right? And the Crew fans right now, and their owner, Jimmy Haslam, who also owns the Cleveland Browns, is having a real bad day. We're not going to go in the NFL, but the Cleveland Browns' favorite player, their best player, asked to get traded today. So that was step one. There was apparently a very small protest in front of Brown Stadium telling them to get rid of the Haslams. And then you go down 2 hours south, and now you got the Crew fans ready to kick this man out because Cucho is on his way out from Columbus, and I think while we
Honeymoon's
started
over
this,
for the
it's
Haslams.
confirmed. It's confirmed.
It is official.
It's official.
So
It
lay
is
it out.
official.
It is, and as we wait on him to get his issues solved, it's Cucho Hernandez on his way to Real Betis for, I don't know what the official thing said, but 16 million plus add-ons through 2030.
That's a massive investment.
They
that
really
Real
wanted
Betis
him.
are making, yeah.
Small correction. It is 16 million, including add-ons.
Including
Okay, there you
add-ons. Okay.
I know.
got it.
Yeah. But
Still a lot of money.
It's a huge deal. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Cucho, when he first came into the league, you could tell he was special. You know, he had, he's an incredible striker. He drifts. He does everything you want a striker to do. And dude, some of his goals were just magnificent. Like, he's not. Usually, when someone has the ball in the box, that's when you're worried. This dude, he could literally score from like anywhere. He'd score from outside the box, from the left, from the right. It was just, you were not safe when this guy was anywhere like near the attacking third. So it's going to be interesting to see how Columbus replaces him. This is a huge, transfer fee for them. I think it's their biggest transfer fee, outbound transfer. So yeah, I mean, they've got resources now to go out and get someone to replace him. We're just gonna have to see if the time works for them, because we were wondering about Latte Lath. Now they have a little bit less time to get that together. But anyway, I think our guest is ready to go.
Finally ready.
Sure.
You want to introduce him, Tommy, before jumps out?
We've already said a lot about them. Just get this guy in here.
Boys, it's terrible.
What's up?
It's terrible. What'd you do? Let me get you down.
It's your fault.
Man.
Ben,
my audio won't
say
work.
It isn't so. Say it isn't so.
You
He's
said
leaving.
it.
Right?
I said that. I tweeted that out, or Blue Sky, or whatever we're talking about anymore. Dude, it's over.
So how is everybody feeling up there? I mean, based on your reaction, and we can only imagine, everybody's quite
honestly. We started drinking about 4 o'clock when it got announced. And you guys are the prettiest sons of guns that I've ever seen in my life. Boop. Boop. Thanks, you buddy. On the nose. No, we actually were talking. My buddy texted him and he's like, why can't we be like Atlanta? I'm like, funny you should say that. I'm hopping on the pod. Because you guys spent like all your money. Now I feel like we're going to be like you with having all this cash and like 7 players on the team.
Well, hopefully y'all don't go through like 5 years of purgatory before you fix it.
We're the crew. We're used to purgatory.
So, Ben, is the honeymoon period over for the Haslams at this point, or?
Yeah. Honestly, it was pretty much over after the COVID, Deshaun Watson, JD Vance.
Well, just for the crew fans, just for crew fans.
Yeah, we were always a Pete Edwards guy. He's like a local dude who we really like. My buddy actually flies for him.
Is he the doctor?
Yes.
Okay, he's the doctor that's the partial owner, right?
Yeah. His money actually comes from real estate, but
okay,
he's also a doctor. So
I always hear them call him doctor. So
foot doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, great. But yeah, the Haslams are, I mean, again, Tommy's from Cleveland, not a Cleveland Browns fan, because that's how that works. But Cucho left today, and they also announced that Garrett wanted to leave. And I was just like, what is sports? What are we doing here?
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
I know. We're still in shock. I mean, there was tonight at whatever time Europe closes for transfers. So, if we were to get somebody, it would have to be on this half of the U.S. or, South America or Mexico or something like that. And I don't even know, I don't know what our contingency plan is. That's what we're hopping. Luckily, we didn't podcast yesterday. We're podcasting tonight, so we get to talk about it. But we're all just kind of like. And then Tom tweeted out, they're looking at Steven Moreira, our defender. And I was like, we only have 2 defenders. We signed a 5th goalie because who cares? You know what I mean?
Well, the good news is
you're never without a goalie next season.
Yeah.
The good news
insurance policy.
You guys can at least bring somebody in. It's just that nobody could be like today. If Cucho was going to happen, to Spain, it had to happen today. But you can still bring
for sure.
somebody in, which is
And they had 2 players that were out. I was hoping we'd get they would transfer somebody. Like we could get, I don't know if you guys know Giovanni Lo Celso.
yeah.
Oh, Bruno said Miguel Berry's available. Let me text the Haslams on my phone.
Call it a comeback.
Right.
Yeah. You guys bring back a Miguel. We're bring back a Miguel.
It's worked so well
Miguels.
the first time.
Adam John, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, he shushed you guys, and I'll never forget that.
And then he did it at the playoff game again.
Yeah.
Oh, the stupid Adam John.
Yeah.
That was like the 7 minutes he played for the Crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying to digest it. I mean, it's like opposite day for what you guys are going through with all the incoming people. I think you guys got Latte Lath or whatever his name is. That guy's dope.
Latte Lath.
And then you guys got your Miguel back, who was my favorite non-Crew player when he was playing. I loved that guy. I thought that guy had, like, I followed him to Newcastle.
So let me ask you this. I mean, 16 million, including add-ons to Real Betis, and came official just before we start recording here. Do you feel like maybe the Crew could have gotten a little bit more for him, or do you feel that's about right?
Well, so we set our sights on 20, I think. By we, I mean like what I've heard and like us as a podcast. So nobody, but we wanted to have a record signing. You know what I mean? Kind of like how you guys did it. We wanted to actually beat Atlanta. But we had 16 plus sign-ons. So like, I wonder if he does well at Betis, he has another level to go up, like some struggling, Man United or something like that will pick him up because they're just like panicking. And then we make another 10 million doing nothing. You know what I mean? So I think ultimately time will tell. We're banking on that. This is just another stepping stone for Cucho, but it sucks because I don't know if we have a contingency plan when he left. He was such like a solid piece in this cog that was, and I would love to say the Crew's plug and play with Nancy, but I mean, you can't really replace that dude. You know what I mean? It's like when Almiron left and I'm drawing a blank here, striker who's now in, which I would even take back.
Joseph?
Yeah, Martinez, it leaves a hole that's just a little bit too big to fill. Although he was out for a while and Rossi stepped up. So it'll be interesting to see if Rossi can return to his potential the way he was in LAFC prior to, and then we can, like I said, the beginning of last season, when we lost Zeller-Ayan, I was like, oh crap. Like, how do you replace it? Cucho's not him. He's not a number 10. And then I was wrong. And then here we are. And I was like, he's irreplaceable. And then like he leaves and it's like, well, all right, man, next man up. And in Nazi's system, that's kind of how it goes. It's like, I mean, when we won the cup, I think like 3 guys were on league minimum from Crew 2 starting lineup. It's like, maybe, but also maybe not. This feels like more like a maybe not. It's like, not great. But hey, congratulations on all your signings. Dang it.
Appreciate it.
So, I mean, I'm sad about this because just like you said, Almiron was your favorite player outside of there. I mean, Cucho is my favorite player. And, I've been saying this for years. Like, there's so much that reminds me of him and Joseph Martinez, right?
Right.
How they play, their attitude, how much he loves
intensity.
Columbus, right? The intensity, how much Joseph loved Atlanta, saying that I want to be here forever. And you heard those words from Cucho, right?
Yeah.
So
did he though? I mean, I'm from Columbus, and I'm like, yeah. Do you though?
But they weren't paying. He wanted a new contract. Is that right?
I mean, sure. So he was making probably with add-ons just under 2, right? So we hear the number 16 thrown out, and we're like, dang! But it's not like he's making 16 mil. So I looked at who they just acquired, which is Lo Celso and Anthony, and they're both on like 3 point something. So it's a little frustrating for me because I'm like, all right, dog, like all we had to do was maybe pay him 2 million more, and then we could have kept him, or 1.5 if he really didn't want to leave, or at least match an offer. So I'm assuming this is part of the plan, because everything I've heard is like, oh, he's staying. And it's like the last day he's like deuces. And it's like, well, how, I just don't know how, behind the scenes, I mean, stuff gets leaked all the time. This was not leaked, right? Did you guys hear anything?
Only today.
Just dropped up today. Yeah.
I mean, that's
it was
what's
out of nowhere.
I mean, I saw the, Atlanta kit like 3 weeks ago. I was like, somebody was wearing it in a shot, and I was like, sweet. And it's like, oh, your biggest player's gone today, now, in 5 minutes. It's like, what? And I was like, I gotta go.
Terrible day.
I was at work, and I was like, I gotta go home. And I just sat in my car. I was like, you said you loved me. Going back through his tweets. I mean, there was just like 8 hours ago, I think he was getting on. Here's a photo of him getting on the plane to Florida. But it could have been.
Apparently it was Spain.
Yeah. No one checked the flight numbers. I blame the fans.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, like this is just sad for the league because he's definitely a face, right? He's always in the intro to MLS. I mean, he has scored some of the most spectacular goals, important goals, MLS winning goals, Leagues Cup winning goals. And seeing a guy leave like that, the league, it just, we were talking about before, Ben, like Messi is going to leave in the next few years, right? And you need these faces, and you're hoping that like a guy like we were sad about Joseph Martinez, and it was a different type of thing. He got the injury, right? The injury that kind of changed how he played. Happens. Right. And like that was sad. And this one's different too, because obviously, and that's why people are so mad at the Haslams, because they're saying, why couldn't you just open your checkbook? Right. This guy is helping sell out your stadiums. He's the face of the league. And now you're the villain.
Sales or something like that. I think he's the like non-Messi Suarez jersey Busquets.
Sounds right.
He was in the top 5, which as a Crew fan, I didn't really realize how much he was respected in the league or how much people, because he came along with the Nancy system and all the pundits and everybody was like, oh, the system, the whatever. And yeah, we were fun to watch, but I didn't realize Cucho was such a mainstay or to get people's eyes on the league. So like, it'll make that Cleveland game kind of interesting.
So let's get to that real
quick.
Cucho
versus Messi. Now it's like Schulte, maybe.
So
Miguel Berry versus Messi.
I'd pay to watch that.
Yeah, that's true. I'll see you in Cleveland.
Right.
We talked about that, Ben, a couple of weeks ago when we were hanging out. And we wanted to have you on here to talk about that because I don't think a lot of people really understand. Real quick, because we talked about this last season that there was a line hidden in the season ticket holder agreement. And people don't know the Columbus Miami game, right? The biggest game of the year for Columbus as far as getting people in the stadium and
the Messi game. It is what it is.
Right. The Messi game. They're moving it 2 hours north. It's a Cleveland Browns stadium here. And you brought this up to me last year. It really wasn't a shock. And wasn't there already a plan to have a specific game if it got to a certain part of a tournament, right? To have it in Cleveland?
Yeah, well, they were talking about it. The frustrating thing is, well, back in the Save the Crew time, there was a tiny little note in the Crew stuff that was like, we'll never move the team unless it's Austin, Texas. And it's like, cool. So like now everybody's reading all the little tiny notes. And one of them was like, we can probably play a game in Cleveland. And like, we talked about it on our pod at length. I'm not like super opposed to it. Whatever. I like going and traveling for games. And I would love to have Cleveland and Columbus be Crew and then Cincinnati be, Kentucky. You know what I mean? Burn.
It basically is.
Yeah. So, I don't mind taking Ohio and making it Crew, which is kind of the point. But a lot of people were burnt on that. But I think the selling point was like a Cucho situation. They were banking on that. Just like MLS was banking on Messi going and taking the finals. And that didn't happen. And the other bummer is Lucho is probably gone at Costa.
Yeah.
Like the league's losing some players. I mean, God bless you guys for keeping the dream alive and bringing people in. Because Lord knows we're not doing it.
So how does that change your optimism or pessimism of the Crew? I mean, with Cucho, I feel like they're top 4 or 5 team easily.
No, Doc, that's a good question. I'm optimistic. I'm interested because like you knew it was going to pop. We all knew it was going to, like Cucho was going to leave. Nancy's probably going to leave. We got some players who are going to make another step and coaches are going to make another step. It was a matter of time. Bummer it's today, but we kind of knew it was. So it'll be interesting, like I said, to see like next man up. How does it work? When Cucho got hurt, we were still winning games and Rossi was scoring every game. And it's like tight. Like we got dudes that'll step up. But as of right now, I'm bummed. I knew it was going to happen. I wish we were banking on it being the next like during the next window.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Since we're selling players, can you guys have Nagby back? No. Is there any other questions? Oh, also,
sure?
Someone put in, Ricky also said, why aren't we playing at the Shoe? Haslam's own Brown Stadium, so it's like it's a win-win. That's why. Like the Shoe also is owned by it's a whole thing.
They still have Ohio,
Stupid
right?
Ohio State.
Yeah, so they're not gonna, they're not gonna do it. They're not doing it to get more people to see the Crew. They're doing it to make money. So if they're doing it to make money, they're gonna play in Cleveland.
OSU at the Horseshoes, so that makes sense.
Yeah, believe it or not, they're not doing things for the fans. I don't know if you know this,
Stunning.
but Cleveland is probably not going to get an MLS team. They did get a women's soccer team, right?
They did not. They did not. No, I think it went to Denver. This time around.
Yep.
But they had a whole plan. They were building a stadium, very close to the Cleveland Guardians Stadium. They had a whole plan, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, $60K versus almost $100K. Again, Haslam's would have to pay out the butt to get Ohio State Stadium.
Right.
So, and not like there's not fans, because they did have Real Madrid play like Bayern Munich or something, and they sold all 100,000. It was bananas. So, I mean, it's not like the fandom wouldn't be there and people wouldn't travel. It's just,
But they know that, and they know how much money they're going to lose just having to pay to use it in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably makes it up. They own.
Instead of paying $1 million extra to keep Cucho, they let him go to make more money. They don't care. Yeah, no one got a text asking like, "Yo, is this a good idea?" Haslam's gonna Haslam. What else you guys got?
Well, Bruno asked if they're ever going to move to Cleveland, and it's one of the reasons why the Crew didn't leave was because of the Modell law here in Ohio, which is basically when the Browns moved the Ravens out. Or moved to Ravens, they made a law in Ohio that makes it very difficult to be able to move a team, which is how the Crew ended up staying alive. And we're actually reliving that scenario now, because they're trying to move the Cleveland Browns to Brook Park, Ohio, which is a 15-20-minute drive. And they are enacting the Modell law
from
for
downtown?
15 to 20 minutes, because it would no longer be the Cleveland Browns. Technically, it would be the Brook Park Browns here.
Right.
It's a good law. It's a good law for sure, to make sure that your fans don't lose a team. But that was only for 15 minutes. So if they try to move the Crew up to Cleveland, you have to go through this law. And
did you guys see Atlanta play in an old Chicago stadium where you had to go outside the stadium or go outside the city? Because they were at
Bridgeview.
Bridgeview. I've been there twice.
That's a haul.
It sucks. Yeah. You're like, it's not that far on a map. I'm like, yeah, on a map, it's like
stadium is like in the middle of nowhere. There's like a gas station across the street.
100%. It's a suburb.
Like the only
like a middle school. It's ridiculous. I mean, I went last year to see them play and at Soldier Field or whatever, and it was better, but it's like, come on, guys, build a stadium. Yeah. Same thing with New York people. And call yourselves a New Jersey Red Bulls. It's way sweeter. Did the coach know about Cucho's trade, or your GM? It's called Nico Harrison. I don't know. I'm not familiar.
So that's the Dallas Mavs GM. He's talking about the
he's talking about
the trade. Yeah.
Luka.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I mean, our wizard moved to Bournemouth. The guy that was running all the stuff behind the scenes. He's actually, I used to play soccer against him. His dad was my dentist for 15 years. So I knew him. He was at Toronto. He's the one that brought in Josie and Giovinco and all them and like won all that stuff. So, but he's gone, and his protege Issa Tall is in, and now it's falling apart and everyone's like freaking out. And I'm like, I mean, I have no control over it. It's one of those things where you're just like, watching America burn, and you're just kind of like, I don't really have any control over this. So I guess I'm just going to like ride it into Valhalla.
I didn't know his name until I saw the memes today. And I think you actually made one of those memes.
I did make one of those memes. I'm a child.
Hey, we all do that.
Yeah.
I was like, I hope the juniors get this.
Yeah.
I have one last question. It's the most important question of all, even more important than Cucho. Goosebumps kit, yay or nay?
In theory, yay. The prelim ones that came out that people mocked up was like, it, you know, if it, how do I put this? I didn't love them because, like, you know what you can see under black lights that's like real embarrassing. Like, the kids look like that, and it's like, dude, the last thing I need is like for the stadium lights to go black light, my jersey to light up, but my socks to be like completely lit. I'll just be like, oh no, what happened down there? Who did that? That could be anything. That's mustard. I gotta go.
This is why we have this guy on.
Tommy, you asked the question, so I thought it's on you.
I'm so proud.
I mean,
no, it's the best question.
I mean,
I've
picture
ever...
yourself in the boardroom, like we're doing Goosebumps. You guys want to do slime on the thing, and there's got to be one guy that's like in the back, like, no, hey, don't do
Red
it.
flag.
Don't do it. Do something different. You know,
It's a
make
bad
it
idea.
scary. I saw another
You won
mock-up
the
today that had like
opinion.
the front of the books on it and stuff, like the dummy and stuff like that. It looks sweet, but I mean, look at the kits around the league. This year is especially bad. I think there's like 3. I'm like, cool, but then you've got Portland, who just is black and gold. Did you see that one? Portland? It's like they're
Randomly?
green. Yeah, it just looks like LAFC, and it's like, who?
I was happy, like from an Atlanta perspective. I was like, I'm kind of glad we just kept it similar. Like it's
Keep it
familiar.
simple, stupid, right?
Didn't do anything weird. Like
Yeah.
we can be right there where nobody's being like, oh, that jersey sucks.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't think you guys have had very few missteps as far as jerseys go. Ours aren't terrible.
Well-
the Charlie Brown last year was awesome, but not one Charlie Brown celebration,
right?
which is probably why we didn't win the cup. I'll
Exactly.
stand by that.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
There was no imitating kicking a football and falling on the ground.
It was
had your
right
opportunity.
there. It was right there.
Happened in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. We were like, we metaphorically did it.
The whole
Yeah,
season.
Metaphorically.
Yeah.
Man, thank God for Miami, or we would have been the joke of the entire league. But
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Rookie said it's a
Right.
good kid and also not creative. I agree. Again, it's like they're coming out with the Goosebumps kit, and everyone's like, yes, and then it comes out. It's like, that looks like a Monster Energy drink. I don't love it. And it's the wrong yellow because it glows, so it doesn't match any of the yellow.
Does it glow?
Neon yellow.
Is it officially
Yeah.
glow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's sweet.
I haven't
like that.
seen proof, but also like, what's gonna? I'm just saying, everything's gonna be like Blacklight Stadium, and it's gonna be a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah.
It's gonna be lots of explaining to do.
Thank you
Well-
for putting that in my head now when I come visit
Yeah.
you.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right.
100%. And we're going to go to the Cleveland one together. And I promise I'm going to try to make it out to, I'm going to try to go down to Atlanta this year. I think I'm actually going to Nashville. We'll have to see.
Well, if you're in Atlanta, hit us up. Let us know.
Oh yeah. We plan on it. And I have friends in Atlanta. I've got like at least 3 I'm looking at right now. So
We'll show you a good
Tommy,
time.
you're in Cleveland, you jerk. What else we got?
But
Are there any other clubs in Europe that might have some strikers they'd be willing to offload? Again, it closes tonight
Yeah.
for Europe. So unless they have some secret thing, kind of like, I mean, Rossi came out almost the same day as Zelli. So maybe.
I mean,
Yeah.
theoretically, you could still sign players from Europe. It's just that they couldn't sign any other players, which is they are reluctant to sell if they don't have replacements. And on the Atlanta side, we experienced that with Latte Lath, because the whole thing was like, oh well, they're not going to sell him. Middlesbrough isn't going to sell him unless they have a replacement, and that delayed things. But
we got the replacement yesterday, right? It was like yesterday. I think
no,
it was
they
announced.
finished signing him. They announced him today.
Yeah,
Today.
finished
It was today. I actually follow Middlesbrough because that's where Aiden went. We're
Yeah.
big Aiden Morris fans.
Yep.
I still think that dude's got an amazing ceiling. He played today and had a sweet assist. He had an assist. But still.
F. Aiden Morris. I hate him.
I know. Tommy wasn't a big fan.
I hate Aiden Morris. Like if there's a
That is
group player I
his
hate, it's
favorite player.
Aiden Morris.
Why?
Oh, because
There's no way he said
Oh,
anything.
you want to get into that whole thing? The whole playoff game 1 with Tristan Miomba, and just every time he was
Miomba
around
should have had
Miomba,
like
he would fall
7
down.
yellow cards.
Get out of here.
That
The
guy's a
wind was
yellow card
blowing.
monster.
The
Right,
wind was
right.
blowing and Aiden would fall over. Oh, don't get me started.
It
again
was
with this.
windy.
It was windy and it was cold.
Right.
And little Aiden couldn't handle it and just kept falling over. And somehow
Little Aiden, he's
Mayumba
a
gets
monster.
Oh,
He's a
whatever.
man. He looks, he looks like Jonathan Taylor Thomas a little bit. He's got a really big head.
I was glad to see him leave.
That's a deep
But I
shot
am
right
sad
there.
about Cucho, even though he's beat us up over the years. It's a sad move for the league for sure. As we continue to prepare ourselves for the post Messi era, and hopefully the league still exists.
Which is
after
probably
that,
in
right?
like 7 weeks. Yeah. I think we've got grace until after the World Cup. Yeah,
Yeah.
Morris was flopping all over the place. Where you live, Justin? Where you live? You call me. Tell me my face.
He's waiting for you to come down for the
Right.
Atlanta match.
He
This is
just
what I
like comes
told
up behind
you.
the corner. I'm like, whoa, Justin. Oh, I'm so sorry.
This is why I brought my favorite guy on here. There was no guy that talked about Cucho than this man right here.
Oh man, yeah. Like I said, I think it's more like it's a bigger loss for the league. But good on you guys because you brought Almiron back, and that's the dude.
That's the
And
guy.
yeah, and Latte's going to be good, and they're actually bringing in people in their
Better be.
prime.
Yeah, better be. Well, where can everybody find you at? This is your first time on our show, which is crazy
I'm
to
gonna
me.
give
I
you
can't believe
my
it.
address.
I've
Is it
been
really?
wanting him on. Yeah,
I know.
I've been on your show quite a few
Yeah,
times.
we'll have you
but
back for the review. Yeah, this year's going to be wild with like Nancy's crazy system and losing the key. It might all fall apart, or it might like another guy might just step up and be awesome.
Right. The next Cucho.
Yeah, it could be sweet. It's probably just Rossi.
Yeah.
He's just less flashy, and everybody's because everybody
Yeah.
we're kind of like 50-50 on Rossi. I mean,
You could
like I
have
said-
worse than Rossi, though.
Yeah.
oh,
No,
100%.
absolutely.
He's
Absolutely.
great. He's
Yeah.
awesome. His stats look great, but when you watch him, you're just like, I don't love it.
Yeah.
Like the eye test is not like he does, it doesn't show a passion. He just kind of like runs around like a little T-Rex, like,
Right.
but Nazi's leaving probably at the end of this year. I'm assuming your name's Omar.
We'll see.
There you go.
Yeah. And he's going to Atlanta. I'm just kidding. He's not going to
Well,
He's going somewhere in France.
Ronnie Dylan might have
Probably.
something to say about that.
yeah, no, exactly.
all right,
Yeah.
tell everyone about your podcast. Got to keep.
Oh, I'm from Upper 90 Club Podcast. We're just the crew podcast. We're like you guys, like looking in the mirror, except one more guy who's from Norway. Bring Ben back for the Columbus preview. That's gonna go one of two ways. Hey, and before I went on, did you guys see me in the waiting room wearing the mask?
No,
We did not.
put it on.
I just
Go
got
ahead
this
and put it
mask.
on.
Well, when I put it on, I couldn't hear anything, so I panicked and I threw it off, and like my one pair of glasses.
That's what
Is that why you
happened.
I was
disappeared?
like,
That's why
panicking.
you kept
We're
leaving.
figuring it
wondering
out.
what happened to you. We're wondering what happened to you.
It like barely fits. I bought it and I was like, man, this is huge. I was on a cruise ship and I like was walking around a cruise ship with it on like a psychopath. Everyone's
Is
like,
that a luchador mask?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
dude, that-
sweet.
I'll put it on. I know you like
Yeah, let's
wrestling.
go.
I'm not a wrestling boy. I mean, I'll wrestle.
Here we
boy.
go.
Well, there we
Check it
go.
out.
There we go.
What
It's
is
like
your
a glove.
what is your luchador
What's your
name?
name? Yeah, luchador name.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Ustedes?
yeah.
Because I always walk in the ring. I'm just like,
Yeah.
hola, ¿cómo estás ustedes? And they go, like, bien too, and I'm like, no hablo inglés. Luchador. It was right there.
This is
I'm
why
gonna bring you
Cucho's
on.
leaving.
yeah.
A
That's the reason
luchador.
why.
Because of Cucho.
That's the mask he should have put on during the game.
Quickest way to be canceled. Yeah, I know. There hasn't been a game. You want to hear another funny thing before I get off here? Wait, what did I say? I blacked out. All right, so check it. We have a thing where you guess the score to the game on our podcast. Do you guys have that probably?
No.
Were you
Similar.
done?
but-
Yeah, whatever. And so we keep tallying. Whoever loses it has to go to the first game next season, and we have a full Austin jersey kit. So they're dressed like just completely in Austin gear.
That's
and
amazing.
Tracy lost, so he has to go to the game dressed fully, like shirt tucked in, soccer shoes. Like,
Taking notes for our podcast.
We need to-
okay, it's a
It is something
bummer.
similar.
Cucho Libre.
Yeah.
Cucho Libre. That's a man.
You messed up.
Y'all missed a whole opportunity here.
Yeah.
I did. This is my
Makes it
fault.
even
I
worse
take the
me
blame,
leaving.
man.
I'm gonna mail that thing to Spain.
Yeah. Thanks for
Right,
having me
exactly.
on.
Thanks, Ben.
I'll have you. We'll do a whole cross swap, or maybe we'll just like all hop on together in one crazy big 9-person.
Yeah, Royal Rumble.
Podcast.
Let's go.
Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
It was yesterday. You just
You
on
laugh.
I know what I'm
Saturday,
dressed as, except I'm ditching this shirt.
Right.
I'm keeping
No,
the shirt on.
No, we
I
appreciate
know you're
that.
just thinking.
We
don't
appreciate it. I
wear
know
the
it's
new-
kind of last minute, but
Yeah, I had to
Could you
like get
go
all
to
this
that?
out before I hop on our
Yeah.
pod.
Just
But
when you come to the Royal Rumble, just don't wear that new Columbus jersey with the
I won't.
goosebumps.
You said it. You said it, not me.
I know.
I don't know. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. Have a great season. I'm excited for you guys.
likewise.
It's like our favorite team besides Columbus is actually Atlanta. We actually have no hate for Atlanta, even though we had all the play. Well, we always won and we're kind of jerks. So that's our bad. That's our bad. I didn't
It's all good. It
Yeah.
happens.
I got
appreciate it.
receipts. We're good.
Yeah.
Cool for that. All right. I don't know how to get out of here. I don't know how to work this
That's
fancy
all right.
thing.
We'll-
Thanks, man.
Just
We'll
don't click
move.
end stream. That's
Yeah,
what
don't
I
do
do.
that.
I've ended the
Don't be
stream
like
quite a
Tommy.
few times on accident.
I don't even think I'm allowed. All right. I'm
I
going to
don't
like
think you're
exit
allowed.
out of the whole thing. All right.
See
Thank
ya.
you guys for the chat and stuff. That was great.
Yeah.
I appreciate
man.
it. I'm going to
Yeah.
find you. Or like
Oh.
whatever wrestlers do.
Right.
Yeah.
The Hulk Hogan on him.
Scarves and spikes after dark.
Right. Thanks, Ben, for the Upper 90 podcast.
See what happens when you put me in charge of bringing guests on? It just goes
Yeah.
to complete chaos. You guys get one. It's normal and everything. I bring a guest in, and he's talking about goosebump slime. That's not goosebump slime. I'm sorry.
Right.
Hey, that was a good time when we
Yeah.
went with him to the brewery after MLS Cup. That was class entertainment. But that was fun. Ben, appreciate you coming on, buddy.
Yeah. Well, how do you segue out of that?
I have no idea.
Do we hit the music? I don't know what we do here.
I
Well,
know.
we still got a couple
I'm
things
using
to
that
talk
on
about.
MLS Mondays.
Let's see.
Speaking of
I'm going to
insane
extra time.
moves.
Teams that don't spend money. Philadelphia Union.
Great job. Great job. Jack McGlynn to Houston. So we talked about Joveljic being the first catch for trade move of this new MLS era. The second catch for trade move of this new MLS era was Jack McGlynn being traded from the Philadelphia Union to Houston Dynamo FC for $2.1 million, although add-ons could make that up to $3.4 million. So welcome to Philadelphia, Bradley Carnell.
Yeah, first of all, it's a fire sale, and the fact that they have like 3 center backs on their roster right now, which I don't ask me how that's sustainable. But the thing about this deal, like the crazy thing, isn't just that Jack McGlynn is moving on from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's
Lay
what
it all
this
out.
deal is.
Lay it all
Okay.
out because we had this conversation in Birmingham and my head still hurts from it. So
So listen
Well, we-
up, fellas. Here's the deal. All right. So Philadelphia, when they signed Jack McGlynn, there was something about like the homegrown rights and the academy signing rights and stuff that technically he really should have belonged to like one of the New York City teams like NYCFC, New York Red Bulls. Philadelphia said,
Red Bulls.
screw that. We want the cool academy kids. Gets them anyways. And so they owe New York Red Bulls 20% and New York City FC 20% of any potential transfers. So they owe them 20% each of this deal
Right.
with Houston. But wait,
There's
there is
more.
more. When they sold Jack McGlynn to Houston in this new cash trade deal, Philadelphia retained 50% of his rights. So here's what would happen if Houston sells Jack McGlynn to any other team anywhere in the world.
What happens?
50% of those proceeds go to Philadelphia.
Mhm.
Of Philadelphia's 50%, 20% goes to New York Red Bulls and 20% goes to New York City FC. What?
I love this league.
Like,
I love
What
this
are you
league so
doing,
much.
Coming from a team that couldn't find a club down in, was it Venezuela, to pay them like $700.
Yeah, I know, right?
And now you're splitting you're literally splitting hairs at this point.
We're never going to get a Philadelphia Union podcaster on this show.
Like, be a normal club.
I got a
for
guy.
once.
I got a guy.
Right. I'm sure you do.
What
I mean,
is
we've
what
had
is
Jonathan
boxing
Tannenwald
mean for
on the
Philadelphia?
Patreon feed from the Inquirer. I'm sure he has some questions. We got chat with him about this deal because I'm sure he knows all about it. But this is like Philadelphia. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what Ernst Tanner and Jay Sugarman are doing up there. Still not willing to spend money, and I'm sure that McGlynn would have commanded a lot of money. I had his salary from last year. I'm gonna pull it up again. So he made 226 in 2014. I believe his contract was coming up due in 2025, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just checking it out right now. So
Wait, what about 2014?
McGlynn, 2024.
Oh, okay. I was like, I
2024.
lost you. And I was
So
like,
2024. So 2025, his contract was going to up due. He had options for 2 years, 26 and 27. Rather than pay him what they thought he was worth, instead just decide to trade him away to Houston. You have Kevin Sullivan coming up, obviously. And I'm sure it sounds like they're throwing all their eggs in that basket before he goes to Man City. Hopefully they retain some of his rights, not 20% of 50% or whatever. Obviously, Houston coming up better on the deal. They need a number 8 with Herrera spinning his way out of town. And going loco, spinning his way out of town. And they got it. Obviously, McGlynn, Herrera, different players, but still an area of need for Houston. And they did what they needed to do. And now Jack McGlynn is with the Dynamo. But guys, I'm very confused about what the Union are doing. It's just very confusing. And this is a team who I don't know if they'll be very competitive in 2025, barring some transfer moves that will benefit their team. But
they barely have
step in
enough
the wrong
players.
direction. Exactly. And
Genuinely,
Henry talked about the
bunch.
center back depth. Henry talked about the center back depth. I think it's their right back or left back depth that they need is just very, very lacking. It's tough to understand what they're doing. So, but congrats to Jack
Bradley
McGlynn.
Carnell just got roped
Welcome to Philly.
into this club, and they're doing everything possible to just sink this ship before the season starts.
They're pushing him out to hire Gio Savarese in 2026 or Pep when he gets sacked from Man City.
Like, you got to wonder, are they going to rely on their academy as much as
It sounds like they are, man.
Literally been Philadelphia's whole
It
shtick.
sounds like they are.
I mean, yeah,
that's why they traded away all their draft picks for the next 3 years.
I mean, there's credence to building from the academy, and I wrote about it on scarvesandspace.com. So the younger players have got Dylas I that have come through the academy, Chunky, Edwards, Brennan, etc. But Philadelphia just seems to be throwing all of their eggs in that basket. Obviously, Kevin Sullivan is the star. They're hoping for big things for him before, again, he goes to Man City. But you're going to need some other players outside of that. You can't just rely on academy players to improve your team. You have to be willing to spend money and bring players in that will improve the fortunes of your franchise. This club missed the playoffs for the first time in forever last season, and Curtin was set up as fall guy. The problem wasn't Curtin. The problem was Ernst Tanner. The problem was Jay Sugarman and their willingness to not spend money, or their lack of willingness to spend money on this team to get it better, to make it among the top teams in MLS. And last year they paid the piper and missed out on playoffs altogether. And now they start over with Carnell.
So they traded other draft picks, right?
Yes.
So
Forever.
Was it announced that, but was it announced prior that they had all these sanctions coming?
No, I don't think so. I think they did that outside of it.
Yeah, it was the transfers, whatever you want to call them, and then the sanctions, and now trading one of your better young players and not having enough people on your roster.
Yeah.
Right. But knowing that you're acquiring all these draft picks, right? I mean, you're very well likely getting the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I mean,
if the super draft is even still alive,
The super duper draft.
You got to think about the super draft. Tyler's right. You got to think about what sort of the super draft takes in 2026.
I get that, but like, if you know that you're acquiring some high picks there, I mean, I know this isn't the NFL, guys. I know this isn't the NHL or the MLB when you find out a player's good in 13 years, right? Yeah. Like you never know how it goes here, but still, I mean, you're acquiring some very likely good picks, which whether they take them or they trade them as well, especially next season. Like the super draft's going to exist next season. They're not going to just can it in a year here. Maybe it's MLS, so anything's possible. But anything, I mean, either way, I mean, they're acquiring, possibly, I mean, very likely a very good pick.
But even by that train of thought, though, then 2025, as of right now, is a bust.
And there's no guarantee.
Well, of course it is.
Drafts will be. It's not like you brought up the example of the top 4 leagues. You draft a player in the NFL number 1, more likely than not, they're going to be a success. NBA, same thing. MLB is a little bit more foggy. The bust potential is a lot higher. Same thing with NHL. I feel like MLS, same thing. Like that bust potential is much higher because there's so many factors you have to play in that plays into it. So again,
it's good odds though. You got better odds.
And again, you don't know what form the draft will take, and it's still a weird decision. So weird to trade away a very good young player in McGlynn, national team player as well, hoping to be in the mix for 2026. So just a very strange move, and the Union unfortunately taking another step back as they go into the first year under Bradley Cornell. Again, I don't think they'll be very competitive in 2025. Where do you go from here? I mean, do the front office change tack after it, or just continue to build the team like they've been building the team?
Is Curtin work for MLS, and is like, does he work? Like, does he go on the MLS show? Because like,
I don't.
We're talking about other leagues. Like, because does this man have a personality that we could put him on there that everybody just doesn't want to punch their TV when he comes on? Jim Curtin should show up on MLS Mondays. We appreciate it at some point. Ignore everything that I'm saying here. Yeah. But like, you know how like NFL coaches just like sit a season out and then they show up on.
He's still being paid for
NFL
2025. Yeah, he's still being paid for this year. So I imagine 2026 gets back in the fray.
I mean, it would be crazy if he shows up on the MLS pre-show, right?
Yeah, I think that's Gio's territory, or Dax is going to be on there.
You never know.
You need a jerk for the show.
He may pop up somewhere.
Jim
see.
Curtin's going to be the heel.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's the bad. Like always in WWE, there's always the good announcer, and then there's the bad announcer, right? That's always got to be against everything. That could be him, perfect.
Right.
Everybody just be shut up, Curtin. We don't want to hear from you.
Well,
be our coach next year.
Well, speaking of Eastern Conference teams in the news, another one in the news right up I-95 is the New York Red Bulls. Lewis Morgan, guys, signing a max TAM extension according to Tom Bogert. Made $1.381 million in 2024, and he's making a max TAM deal according to Tom Bogert. Max TAM, the TAM ceiling was 1.683 in 2024, so that's going to go up. I imagine ultimately maybe 1.7, 1.8 or something like that. But Lewis Morgan getting paid. Interesting that they are still bringing him in on a TAM contract and not a DP contract. I assume like they're back on DPs, but he agreed to a non-DP contract. Again, if you make between the TAM ceiling and the TAM floor, anything above that you have to be a DP. But he's in that bracket. Anything above the TAM floor, I should say, you can designate as a DP.
They had to find a way to keep him.
Yeah. And European teams were after him. He received very heavy European interest during last season. We thought he was gone, but he was coming back to New York. So good on them for bringing him back. Such an important player, such an important part of their team. And he is back. We don't know the terms of the deal. We'll find out soon enough. But Lewis Morgan returning to Red Bulls, or at least foreseeable future. They only won an MLS Cup last season under a new coach, Sandro Schwartz. We'll see what they do in 2025. Can they maintain that momentum that they gather? And thanks in the chat. Mark saying in the chat, max TAM is 1.743, 750. So yeah, I figured it'll go up at least incrementally in 2025. So he is making that much, 1.743, but again, on a non-DP contract.
Which is what you need. I mean, those DP spots are valuable. We know this. This is not a secret in MLS roster rules. So, yeah, I mean, I think they probably would have done it if it came down to it. But the fact that they were able to keep it at a TAM contract, like, that's a big deal because, like I said a couple of weeks ago on this show, they feel like they're just one or two pieces away from being a legitimately good team and not a team that kind of squeaked their way through the playoffs, which is what the playoffs are. We know this, but yeah, I mean, from a rival standpoint, like I hate it, but
and there's room for them to do more because Van Zier is no longer there. That opened the BDP slot, so they know that they need to bring in one more player to get themselves over the hump. Again, nearly winning MLS Cup. So who is that next DP? Who is that third DP? It won't be Morgan, of course. So where do Red Bulls go from here? But of course, Morgan coming back on next TAM. So
yeah. And then the final one, the final kind of, I guess, big MLS news from the prior week. And no, SG Latose did not pay us. They gave us some of the stuff, and it's really cool.
Just my choice. It looks really cool.
Right.
Henry kind of looks like John Cena, like with the
he does. He's got like a.
All I keep thinking about is John Cena.
I agree. He told me I looked like a trucker when I wore it.
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
But
anyway,
no. Yeah.
Eduard Atuesta reportedly to the team that really needed some stuff happening after an injury already in Wilder Cartagena, but Orlando. So permanent signing after the loan to LAFC from Palmeiras. But what do y'all think?
I love this move. What do you guys think? I love it personally.
I hate it for Orlando.
Super high on Atuesta, honestly. I mean, ever since he first joined the league with LAFC, the first time around, I mean, he's just a midfield maestro. Very, very talented, very progressive player. He's going to do a lot for Orlando, especially after, losing Wilder Cartagena. They needed someone there to shore up that midfield. Atuesta will do that and more. I mean, I think they're starting to move up a little bit in terms of, positioning in the Eastern Conference in my mind, that move alone, but also if they can get Marco Pasalic over the line as their Facu Torres replacement, then that is even going to elevate them more. So, I think Orlando is sneakily putting together a decent offseason.
Yeah.
Of course, they were putting together a decent offseason last year, and then they started off really bad. But I feel like this could be different.
Thing, man.
I feel like this could be different. I'm interested to see what their striker situation is because, are they going to start Dunk? Are they going to? Well, Duncan's injured, isn't he?
Yep.
You have what's his name, Ramiro Enrique, Luis Muriel, who you hope has a better 2025 than he had a 2024 last year. You hope he gets off to a hot start, and he's the player that you signed him to be. But there's no guarantees, and especially with age like that, for an attacker, their expected performance kind of goes down with age. So we'll see. I think they're looking solid, but they still need a little bit more in my eyes.
And Tommy and Tyler, feel free to jump in, but I'll just say this too: on MLS Cup with LAFC, so it brings that championship mindset, championship experience to a team that we've said in the past are looking to take that next step. They've won U.S. Open Cup. They want to win a Shield. They want to win MLS Cup and establish themselves as a top team in MLS. 4 goals, 6 assists with LAFC last season. I do like this move. Tommy, I know you said you hate it. Why is that?
You know why I hate it.
Enlighten us.
You don't want to see your rival get better, right? Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Look,
exactly.
I know this is MLS Monday, guys, and I don't show up here, and I'm supposed to be, impartial. But no, you don't like to see Orlando get better
from a neutral standpoint.
From a neutral standpoint, it's a great move. But I mean, you're competing this year, right? This team should be competing, and I'm talking about Atlanta, right? We're back to Atlanta Wednesdays right now for 1 minute. I mean, this team should be going for all the trophies. So I'm paying attention to what all of the teams do that are around us, right? And when you bring in this rivalry, and it continued a little bit, like I understand Orlando didn't win MLS Cup, but man, they had a lot of trash talking after that playoff win. They were close, but after they beat Atlanta, all the little Barney fans in their purple started yelling and tweeting and getting real loud again, and I'm not down with that. So,
quote unquote rivalry.
I mean, I see it as a rivalry.
Hey, Miggy's back now, so it's
right.
It's gonna be a rivalry.
Yeah.
What year is it?
Joseph, but still.
What year is it?
Tyler, are you not on board with the move like Tommy is?
I mean, I feel like it was a necessity. Because you've had your injury to Cartagena, which that's a big blow, regardless of positioning. Like that's a big deal. But I mean, I agree with Tommy. Like I don't want to see Atuesta come to a direct rival for sure. He's a great player, and he's going to make them better. And I still think Orlando though is a piece or two away from like really blowing it wide open, but they've been
that's always been the case, right?
Yeah, they've been the better team. Okay, yeah, they've been the better team coming out of the Leagues Cup break the past 2 years in a row, which is wild, and they just couldn't get it over the line. Of course, they did win the Open Cup, but I do think this was like a necessity, and good for them for getting it done, because when you see a big need, especially after an injury, you got to go and pony up some money and make something happen. And they did it quickly and they got it done. So good for them on that front, but still an Atlanta rival, but it is MLS Monday. So I'll refrain from my other comments.
Good.
I'll break the rules.
But
you always break the rules.
Yeah.
I think that is all the MLS news. Officially.
We're getting there.
It's close.
Yeah, 19
Almost
days away.
2 weeks, 2.5 weeks away from the regular season. And of course, subscribe to us on your podcatchers. I know we got to get to that. Subscribe to your podcatcher. Look up Scars and Spikes and Atlanta United podcast. We'll have our regular Wednesday Atlanta United focus show, our Monday MLS focus show, all throughout the preseason, all throughout the regular season. So even if you are an active listener of the show, even if you primarily watch us on YouTube live or record it, definitely do that. Subscribe on your favorite podcatcher. Send us a screenshot to our socials, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. Be entered to win Threads. be entered to win a $25 gift card, but that definitely does help us out a lot. TikTok, little bit difficult with TikTok, but yeah, if you're on TikTok,
if you didn't delete the app,
delete
the app, it still exists.
No, but tag us on social with you subscribe to our audio channel. Again, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you find podcasts. Definitely helps.
And check out the store for some really cool merch. You got hats, you got really cool t-shirts, you got glasses there, and you also have mugs to maybe pour yourself a nice piping cup of latte. Potentially soon.
Good transition.
In celebration for tomorrow.
Like you tie that in, Henry.
Yeah.
And with
You're
that,
becoming one of us.
He's getting there. No, hey, this kid is like the weird dad joke king. He's got it. But that's it. We'll be back Wednesday. And in the meantime, hopefully y'all do, in fact, enjoy.
Why did he mute her at the end? Now he's muted. Now we can't hear anything he's saying.
He's not muted.
What?
I could
Brian,
hear him.
He's back. I don't know what happened.
I don't
Me
know.
neither.
Brian asked if I'm coming in for the opener, and hell yes, I'm coming in for the opener. And we might have an announcement soon of what we're doing for the opener.
Yes.
Right?
So keep your ears open and eyes open for that, because
Jurgen Damm meet and greet. Sorry.
No.
God, no.
It's not happening.
Yeah, we got to make this llama shirt.
Gotta try.
We do have some really cool announcements coming soon for real.
Yes,
So,
stay tuned.
Y'all definitely keep an eye out. And
Wait,
leave your February 22nd before the game open. That'd be really cool.
Hey, in Napoleon Dynamite, Tina, right? That was
The
the
fat
llama, right?
lard.
Yes.
Tina was the llama, right? Okay. When I met my Tina, I'd always go, Tina, eat the food. She didn't really appreciate it that much. But I actually got a shirt I think it said I love llamas, or it was like I love Tina or something, and it was a picture of a llama. Yeah, that's what it was. It said I love Tina with a llama on it. proudest shirt I ever had. I think that was the moment she decided to marry me.
Is that right?
Probably, for sure.
Well, there was only one other option, and that was never talk to you ever again. So
Right.
you got the right one.
No in between.
I would have found her.
Thank you
called
to
stalking.
everybody.
Eat
Yeah,
the food.
get your food, Tina, you fat lard. All right, 530 of y'all watch this show tonight. We appreciate every single one of
Oh
you.
wow, thank you.
See y'all
Yeah.
later.
And thanks, Ben. Thanks, Ben.
Yes, Ben, very much.